Yeah, welcome back to Zod's Vendetta TV. Today, I'm not going to get too serious about anything. I just wanted to just get on here and talk about a few things that I find not only comical, but somewhat perplexing. And I know there's a lot of people that like to criticize my views on certain things. And I'm not going to get on here and say, like, I'm the most... see right there, I'm already starting off wrong. But I'm not going to get on here and say I'm the smartest person. I'm not going to say I'm the most politically correct person, the more literate. I won't say that I'm literate about absolutely everything. There's a lot of things that I know. Some of it's just in his brain jumbled up and not always able to be brought out, I guess, or you know what I mean. They just sometimes I get blocked, so I just allow myself to talk until I refocus. But that's what happens when you're kind of like a scatterbrain. But at the same time, it's like things like this that I really want to talk about, that I do find comical. Like and I know people might take this wrong, but like, is it possible for me to become a Nazi? And I say that with all due respect, because it's your right to proclaim whatever you want to proclaim. Like, there's a lot of people that proclaim to be Native American that aren't Native American. There are a lot that proclaim to be this and that, but don't necessarily make them this or that. There's a lot of people like to proclaim certain history as theirs, with little tidbits of information, and they just run with it. But I'm not gonna say exactly who's who, because it's no need for me to get on that type of page. That's not what this video is about. This video is about me possibly being able to become a Nazi, or like maybe maybe I can get inducted into the Hall of Clan or become a Clan member or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I'm not trying to make a joke out of it, but it is kind of funny. And the whole reason I say that it's funny is because, when I watch this dude, Gypsy Crusader, and I watch his whole backstory and how he became the individual that he is today, and the hardships that made him go from not being a racist to a racist, supposedly, which is kind of funny. Like, I know a lot of people like to come on here and they say, sometimes you're not a racist, you're made a racist, which is bull, because that would mean anything that happens in life that you don't necessarily agree with, or say like something happens with like I'll use this for example. You ever see like those stories where you'll see this person, they're like a staunch Christian or a staunch Catholic or whatever religion they proclaim to be a part of, and then something tragic will happen in their family. Sometimes it's close enough to be like their kids or like their husband or their wife. You know what I mean? And like their family member will be unalived. And usually for the average person, that's gonna make you hate that other person. But these people, there's something in them that I just can't understand for the love of me. That's just so righteous and forgiving that they actually forgive the person that wronged them. And there's no greater wronging than to unalive somebody's family member or kids, or that stuff that you would figure would never be forgiven. But somehow these people find it within their heart to be able to forgive. And it's crazy when a person that unalive, their family members of a different ethnicity, a different background. Like, you've had people that have did it that were white and the black person forgave them, and then you've had a lot of white people that forgave the black person or the other person, you know what I mean, and able to get past it. And some have even went as far as to help the person out that did it, they got out of jail, and they helped them get a job and all types of things, and got the rest of the family to forgive the person and really laid it in God's hands. And those people right there, like, regardless of how I might feel, like an eye for an eye, like I appreciate these type of people, because a lot of people are not able to do that. Me myself, like I'm weak in the flesh, so I couldn't foresee myself being able to do that. The thought of somebody hurting my kids in any way makes me nearly homicidal, even if it's just merely in thoughts of thinking about somebody attempting to do anything, even if it's just hypotheticals, which most of the time it is. But even with that, like, I get, there's something inside me that breaks and makes me think outside of the box on some crazy stuff to do. And so when I see people that are able to bounce back and forgive the person that wronged them in that way, like I'm in awe. But I know I went away from what I want to talk about, but like, so when I see Gypsy Crusader and the fact that he's now a raving lunatic and really like super racist, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, when I research his background, like I said, I seen his story because some guy had made a whole video about it, and you know, was basically I won't say forgiving, it's a different word, but he was basically justifying the fact why Gypsy Crusader could say the hard R, and why he should be forgiven, and the fact that any Caucasian that feels that type of way should be able to express yourself freely, and by all means, like you are able to express yourself freely, and you're also should be able to accept the consequences. Like some people, they feel as if you should turn your cheek and shouldn't take it personal because it's just a word. It's also within your right to respond to said word. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if somebody went and spit in your mom's face, or your grandma's face, or your kid's face, you know what I'm saying? Regardless if it's more than just words, it's still hurtful. Spitting in somebody's face, unless they got some type of disease, it's not going to hurt them. It may hurt their pride or shock them, but it's not physically hurting them. It's spit. But the fact that somebody allowed it to come out their mouth onto your body, or somebody that you care about's body, it becomes serious. Even if they spit at their feet and it don't necessarily hit them, you're still gonna feel some type of way about it. So when you throw a racial slur at a whole ethnic group, I won't even say ethnic group, because blacks is not an ethnic group. So, well, black Americans are an ethnic group, but in the entirety of, you know, whatever being of those who, you know, really, we'll just say the ones that proclaim their African side, regardless of whether you've been here 400 years, whatever. Some people claim native. I'm not going to get into all that. That's not my problem. I know I have African DNA. It just is what it is. I'm still black American, but yeah, that's a whole different story entirely. I'm not even going to go into that, because it's like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, as long as you can look at my skin complexion and tell what I am, that's all that matters. Like, there's me identifying with anything doesn't take anything away from me, but that's besides the point. So let's get back to Gypsy Crusader. So I seen the whole video, and I seen that he did commentation or whatever. He was on, you know, he was savvy about his political views and certain politics, and so that's what he used to like to speak about. So, and then he ended up getting caught up in something with the Proud Boys, and then, you know, Antifa allegedly wanted to assault him, and then the Proud Boys backed him up, which people should back up people, period. When it's a group of people meaning to assault somebody, and it's not no street stuff, because that's just, you stay out of that they chose to get involved in street activities, then they accept the consequences. Don't throw your life away for people that are already have forfeited their life when they decided to join a gang. That's a no-brainer. You still got to make it home to your family or whoever loves you. Like, throwing your life away for somebody that then probably been out there hurting other people just makes absolutely no sense, because you're not involved in that life. You know what I mean? But people will be people. Some people are just genuinely good, and they don't want to see people hurt. But you get what I'm saying? Like, so when I seen all this, I understand why people would back Gypsy Crusader up. You know what I mean? When you see opposition and they're trying to take advantage of somebody that doesn't necessarily align with their way of thinking, and another group wants to hurt them for that reason, yeah, they're, hence the name Proud Boys, whatever. So he wasn't involved in that, but he got caught up in it. He said that Antifa played dirty and basically ruined his life for showing up at his mom's house and all this and trying to dox him. And I'm gonna be honest, if somebody was doing that to my mom, like, yeah, I would try to erase them from the planet. Like, it would get violent real quick, because that's my mom, you know what I mean, or my parents, or my whatever. That should be off of them. Politics is one thing, but visibly trying to harm somebody's family because you don't align with their views is psycho. Like, that's, you have to be weird. It's like even saying the hard R, but there's no malice behind it as far as physical. You're just saying it because either you're upset or that's your view. It's like when people say the word cracker, you know what I mean? It's like, it's still extremely disrespectful, and people will respond according to how they're feeling in that moment or how they feel about it, period. Some people will hear that word and laugh and be like, yeah, they'll acknowledge that and accept it. Just how people of my skin complexion took the N word, removed the R and put the A, and accepted it. They live in it. Some are emboldened and emboldened by it. You see what I'm saying? But so all the whole Gypsy Crusader thing, like, I felt that, like, I understand why he would do what he do, but to turn to a straight Nazi, like, I don't get that part. And I'll tell you why I don't get that part, and that's why I was telling you if I could be a Nazi or a KKK or a skinhead or whatever, which, let me take that back, because there are black skinheads. There's always been skinheads. Skinheads wasn't a racial thing. People took their little subgroup of it and made it into whatever they did. Hence, working class, straight edge, like, whatever. There's so many different words for a skin, and anybody, like, that's been involved in the punk scene will know what a real skinhead was. You know what I mean? Like, you'll know what it is before, you know what I mean? It's just like the same when people say working class, the difference between punk and oi and all this, hence Bad Brains and like all this, like, barbed wire. There's so many different things I could go into. I don't want to, this video is going to be long because this is my podcast and I'm deciding to do it in the car today. But you hear what I'm saying? Like, the whole reason I'm bringing this up is because Gypsy Crusader background is Gypsy, and you get it, ring, Mexican. So I know there's some people that consider Mexicans European. Somehow they've come to terms with that fact, and they no longer want to see them as inferior. So they justify certain things by saying that they're European because of their Spaniard bloodline. I'm like, okay, I get it, but unless you're a certain type of Mexicano, you're not accepting that. Yeah, you might accept the fact that you got Spaniard in your blood, but they're not accepting the fact that you consider them white. And that seems to be a going sentiment of a lot of different people when it comes to this whole Spanish background and being European. Like, there's some foods, like, I wouldn't even say a small part, but there's like a big part of the population that believe that they're white because they have Spaniard in their blood, not knowing that you've had Middle Easterns, you've had Moroccans, you've had the Moors and everything. When the Spaniards were still crawling on knees in caves and yeah, it's a lot of things to it. And if you do your research, you'll know that that's why some of them look Middle Eastern. It's all in their architecture and everything. Just go back to when the Muslims invaded Spain. The Jews were there. They were kind of like in the middle. They weren't going for one side and they weren't going for the other. But what's the name? I think his name was also like something like Muhammad. But I think his dad was like a warlord or something, some of that nature. I have to refresh it because it was a long time ago when I was on this story. But he wanted to do something. I don't know. I don't know if he wanted to make his father proud or he just wanted to, stand out. So he took Spain. I guess his dad didn't want it, but he went and got the Muslims from Africa, the Red Hats, and then took them to Spain and took Spain. And for a while they ruled Spain. But little by little, when the Europeans finally got involved, and I'm talking about the white Europeans from like the UK and all that, like they finally got involved in order to supposedly help Spain out. But it was a play. It's always been a play. The Spaniards' blood have always been something different. But you know, even they'll, like, even with the Spaniards, they'll say European, but they're gonna tell you Spanish first. They only really use the whole European thing when they're in certain settings, when they need to describe certain things. But for the most part, they're just gonna say they're Spaniard. But it's crazy like, that's why I said, could I be a skinhead? Because to think of a Mexicano from Mexico with indigenous roots claim to be a Nazi. Even the Gypsy side. I mean, you got Gypsy travelers. You got all the Gypsies that are like from Ireland and there's some in the UK, which a lot of people disrespect them and call them swindlers and thieves and this and that. A lot of them fools could fight. A lot of Gypsies could fight, dude. Like, especially the Gypsy travelers. A lot of them fools could fight, dude. They the art of bare knuckles. They do. You know what I mean? But to think about a dude that's half Gypsy and half Mexican being a Nazi, it just blows my mind. Because if Hitler was still alive, it wouldn't be happening. He wouldn't even be considered nothing outside of trash. And we're not gonna even go into like what he was trying to do, in the simple fact of the certain things that was taking place in this country that he wanted to get rid of. Because you figure, even with the Jews, they owned everything. They owned everything in Germany. So there's a reason why Hitler opposed them the way he did. And he wanted to bring everything back to the German people. You know, they had black dudes fighting for the German army. It's a lot of things. People should go through history. So I get it. So that maybe I could be a Nazi. I don't know. If you go according to the American version of Nazism, it's gonna be, yeah, they see it a different way. It's like, even like when I run into Irish people that are Nazis, that is so mind-boggling right there, because for the most part, the Irish have always been allies in some way or another. There's so many people from Ireland that have did so much for African people, have fought the same fights as African people, have been aligned with African people. Yeah, they're Irish, but they've aligned with them because they were mistreated the same way. They came to this country second-rate citizens. They considered the Irish trash, subhuman, just slightly removed from us. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's so, like, when I see an Irish person that's a skinhead or a Nazi or proclaiming to be anything of that nature, it's perplexing. It's perplexing. Like, it's almost sad. Like when I see Irish people from Boston, and I see some of them are just on that page, like they're just like super racist towards blacks, and I'm like, damn, like back in the days, there's a lot of things that took place in America that involved blacks and Irish people. Like some of the abuse, everything, like it's a lot of things that go into it, and sometimes I'm saddened by the fact to think that we've showed real solidarity towards each other, but you got these people that proclaim to be Irish, and they're heavy on the hard R and this and that. Like, I just don't get it, dude. Like, to come from a proud people such as that and resort to being a bigot and a racist piece of crap. And that's not all Irish. I won't say that, because there are a lot of Irish that are still standing in solidarity. There's a lot of Scotsmen that stand in solidarity. There's a lot of people that stand in solidarity. That's why I never get on here and just do a broad stroke and say all white people. Because there's like some people that really stand with us, and they continue to stand with us. There's a lot of Hispanics that stand with blacks, and then there's a lot that don't. It really comes down to how you were raised and how you see things. What makes it hard for people to stand in solidarity with some black people is because you got some black people that's all they do is point fingers at everybody else but themselves. They don't want to fix the problems eternally, so they just project. Them are the ones that don't really, they're never going to get anywhere. But then you got the ones that really want to sit across from you and figure this out. That's why you have these racist whites that say self-hate, but it's not. It's just people are tired of the same constant bullshit that's not making no sense. You're not making no sense. It makes no sense to be a raving racist. It makes no sense to claim Nazism and you're not even German. You have no ties to them. You're Irish. Two different. They didn't even consider Irish people white for a long time. But they knew in order to have certain shit go a certain way, they had to include them into it. It makes it easier. Because if everybody came together to oppose it, it caused real problems for the people that are really in power. So they utilize this. The Portuguese, you already know what they did. So it's like, it's so many different things. That, no shot at the Portuguese because I know some good ones. Cool. Some good ones. That sounds weird. But like I know Portuguese people that are like real like down to earth and really with the movements and stuff like that. So I give them credit. You can't fault them for their ancestors, just like I don't fault the whites for their ancestors. It's only the ones that continues to perpetuate the bullshit is the ones that I point the finger at. Not that they really move me in any way, but I like to point the finger at them because they look stupid. They look like a clown. If shit was taking place back in the, during that time, you fools would be on the opposite side. You wouldn't be claiming Germany or claiming Nazism. You would be more patriotic. It would be more America first. Like some people still, it's so many different divisions and subdivisions of this division, and so it's like black people right now. Everybody claiming something different. You're the original Scotch, you're the original Irish. Cool, whatever you're the original this, you're the original that. You created this, you created that, and some of it can be substantiated. Like it can be proven. And then other things is like a shot in the dark and hoping that you believe it. But I'm not here to argue that. I'm just, the whole Gypsy Crusader thing is what gets me. Like, dude, you're Mexican and Gypsy. You are so far removed from whites that it's crazy. How? I don't know how they would do it if you were busted in California. Florida, I guess they let you get away with it, but I've seen a dude that was half Asian nearly get his throat cleaved out because he looked too Asian and he wanted to run with the whites. That's all I'm gonna say on that because I don't want to get too detailed into it. But watch why this fool got chewed up on the yard because he didn't want to run with the Asians. He wanted to run with the whites, but he looked too Asian and didn't want to do certain things to correct it. So they ate him up and got him off the yard. You see what I'm saying? It's like that type of energy that I'll be tripping on the most, dog. Like, it's things that don't make absolutely no sense. Like, it don't make no sense why people do what they do. Like, it makes no sense for Gypsy freaking Crusader to be a freaking Nazi and he's Mexican and Gypsy. I can look at him and tell it and tell that he, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, everybody looks down. I'm just saying, maybe it's because I've seen so many different people that I'm like, you know what I mean? But yeah, he's just a big goofball that got upset at the fact that people did what they did and he became what he became. Didn't do him no good. Didn't do him no good. And eventually he's gonna make the wrong person upset and they're gonna do something to him. Especially people that already know that you're a trained kickboxer and all that, so they're probably not gonna fight you head up. But there's no rules in this game. Like, this is one thing I tell people because I've heard it a million times. If you play with somebody, you don't judge how they play back with you. So his words, inflammatory, rhetoric. I've seen him. He get on the thing and use the hard R like it's just. And then some of the kids that's on there are not even. They're not even adults. They're, you know what I mean. And but he don't care. There's no respect for them. Like, if you tell that to an adult, I get it. If they don't do nothing to you, then it's within their right. I consider him a coward because if you told me the N-word, I'm gonna hit you. But like I said, you're not allowed to dictate how people will play back with you. If you play with somebody in that way and you're serious, you're going to be serious anyway. Everybody know you. But just using that word in a lot of different places would get you slapped. This fool knows where to move around. it's within his right. Like you said, freedom of speech. And people got the freedom to do what they want when people use their freedom of speech. You see what I'm saying? Like it's this how it is. It's the rules of life, the rules of engagement. If you disrespect me in a way to where I feel like we can't just talk about it, then we got to do something else. You cannot play with people and assume that they're gonna play with you back the same way. This is life. There's consequence for what you say. Just like if you got on here and you inflame every Jewish person in the world, somebody's going to feel some type of way about it. If you get on here and you flame all whites, all blacks, all Hispanics, somebody's going to feel some type of way about it. It's like if you inflame all Asians, somebody's going to feel some type of way about it. Yeah, and if you kick it in your little box, in your little all-white neighborhoods or your all-black neighborhoods or all this neighborhoods, yeah, you're going to get away with it. But eventually, you come outside that little box and you end up in one of these spots where the people are predominantly something else. Yeah, I just watched a whole YT woman get choked out just for, and she didn't even use the hard R. She just turned around and said it in a way to where they felt disrespected and got choked out. And people are like, the usual suspect. No, you just don't, you playing with somebody in a way or saying things that you feel shouldn't be that serious is serious to others. There was a black person right in front of him that did nothing. He just looked, and you know, you could tell he felt some type of way, but he just laughed at it. She was a woman, and then the dude came around and said, nah, shut up, and choked her out. And they ripped their head off her shoulder. But that's what happens when you play with people. You don't know how they're going to play back. You got people that say the N-word with the A at the end. That's of a different race and nobody does nothing to them. And then all of a sudden, you say it in that one spot and this one black dude catches you, knocks you out, slaps you a couple of times on the ground to wake you up to make sure you're still alive. And people will be upset at that fact. No. You've been warned. And everything. It's like you might call an Hispanic person out their name 1 minute and then you don't get nothing from them, but then you get that one dude that be like, huh, what'd you say? Sleep you in the parking lot and do something bad to you. Or there's other situations where fools where got disrespectful and got killed. Like it's one of those. You cannot dictate how a person play with you when you disrespect them. It's the same way if you disrespect my kids. You're not getting up out of that easy. I'm not just beating them, I'm going to stump you, curb you, and do whatever else. Yeah, I accept the consequences of what comes after that. But it's my kid, so whatever. But yeah, I know I went on all types of things, but that's what happens when you talk, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, Gypsy Crusader, man. Like, I don't really understand where he's coming from outside of what took place, but being Mexican and Gypsy and being a straight Nazi is the biggest disrespect that you could present before your parents. And even if they're on the same page, it's still weird. You're Mexican and Gypsy, and you're a Nazi. Two lightning bolts on your... You know, the Greek considered that power in Africa was also power. The Swazi has been used so many different ways. No matter which way you turn it, it's been used in all different religions. All this stuff, even the SS, the little eagle, and like all that stuff has been stolen from other places, dog. Like, and people be like, oh, well, it came from over here, dude. That it was stolen from a lot of different places. You guys just borrow shit and just make it your own. So that's why I don't feel so bad when you have a black fool or some other race that come out and be like, we created this. Okay. I just be laughing, you know, especially when you know they didn't, but it's like, you entertain it because you think about it, it's like, man, you guys have did the same thing. The Germans did the same thing. Whites from other spots had did the same thing. Africans had did the same things. You got blacks battling Africans right now over things. Battling the Caribbean. Whole delineation thing. There's a lot of different things that go into it, but I'm gonna go because this is already about to end. It only records for 30 minutes, but I've been talking for a long time, and I hope you guys understand where I was coming from. But Gypsy Crusader, man, it's not that serious, bro. Don't let Antifa pump you up so when you become a racist prick. I mean, you're already there, Joker. But yeah, man. Let me know, man, in the comments. Can I become a Nazi? Can I be a skinhead? Can I be... Well, I could be a skinhead because, like I said, with the whole punk thing. But, you know, can I adorn the white sheets? Maybe even a black sheet. That'll be tight. You know what I mean? Something different. You know what I mean? Stand out. And And I guess that's basically it. You know, this is Odd Vendetta. You know, I do everything on here. And hopefully I'll continue to upload and make you feel good.